Hi, I'm Victor, sometimes Vister Reeser,
And I'm Jonathan Vergara.
and this is Indies Nuts, the podcast where we play and review new indie games so you don't have to, unless they're good.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we are back for the second half of our 90s video game side quest roundup dealy jig. That's
I love it.
not a
That's
word.
enough modifiers. We nailed it. This last video was so much fun, and this list is massive. Again, shout out to everyone who contributed to the discussion where we had it posted, and we will literally give you a shout out.
Also, a shout out that we forgot last time to Tony for helping us get the list together. So we appreciate you, Tony, but only if you finish Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think that's
otherwise you can strike that from the record and move on with your life.
For the record, as a parent, conditional love is the best love. I just so let's hop right into it, man.
I hope Lemon is finished Chrono Trigger.
She will though.
Dad,
I mean, unless she doesn't want to.
Oh, well, I guess Daddy doesn't love you anymore.
Yeah. You know, that college fund looking real tempting right now. So, oh my God, that's messed up. Well, so this is the best games of the 90s, by the way, in case that wasn't clear from the title. And if you hadn't watched the first episode, please go watch part 1 first before coming into here.
I think we made it all the way explained all that, so.
Yeah. We made it all the way through 1996, though. About the end, we have a few more titles at the tail end of 96 holiday season to get through, and we're going up through 1999. Lots of great stuff left. The first game on our list is Kirby Superstar, originally released in September 96 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Nari Hyukjin Lee suggests it and says, "It was so much fun exploring secrets and treasures, and they taught me how to think creatively." Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, that game's
great,
awesome,
dude.
I'm not a big fan of Kirby games. Generally, they're a little bit too much on the easy side, and they don't really change up the formula enough in the games that I've played. I know in recent ones they have in like Robopon and stuff like that. But this one is just, I don't know what it is. It's just some magic mix of like everything. It's like
magic is the right word.
Peak Kirby. It's like they didn't do anything super new. They just did everything that Kirby had done up to that point perfectly.
I love that game so much, and it is such a great execution of what is the word, like fantasy and a kind of a like it's like you're a kid almost when you're exploring through that game. You know, the nostalgia is there for me too. I played it with my brother, and now I'm playing a Kirby game with my daughter, which is fantastic. So Kirby, great series, great game.
I don't own that one on Super Nintendo, but I do own I want to say it's DS or 3DS remake of it.
The DS, that's right.
DS, okay.
That's
and then of course, it's I believe that's one of the games on the SNES Mini as well. So
it is.
I have that,
and it's on Nintendo Online. So
that's true. So I own it multiple ways.
Pretty cool. Super Mario 64 is the next on the list, also suggested by Nari. It says the same thing. It's exploring the world was great, and it was the first time to be able to do so in 3D with Mario. And that is a really important game, I would say, in my childhood.
For sure.
You know, it's kind of rough on the eyes sometimes now, but the music is great. And the camera, I think they did a good job with camera buttons in that game.
It was a game that did 3D cameras better than anything else at that time had done yet.
Right.
Like by the standards of today, the camera's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit awkward, but back then that was as buttery smooth as cameras got.
Lakitu was nailing it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That game's great. I love it. The only complaints I have about that game is that you get the stuff on top of the castle too late. Why do I need 120 lives or however many lives? 120 stars. I think it's 100 lives. After I've already finished the game. I don't need those lives anymore. I already did it. I already did everything. So that, and then again, some of the levels, it's a little bit vague on what you're supposed to do to get the star. But
True.
I think overall that game is a masterpiece. Still holds up. I actually was playing it not too long ago because when I got my 64 back, I ran through the first like 20 stars or something. Still plays great. Excellent game.
Oh man.
Did not realize that game came out like 9 days after Kirby Superstar.
I know.
What
it's
an amazing
wild to
week
think
and a half
about.
that was
It's
for
wild
Nintendo
to think
fans.
about. I know. It's nuts. And hot on its heels is Twisted Metal 2, which came out October 96 on the PS1. Dan Leonard suggested this game, and he says, armored car battles, you can duel or be in free-for-alls, hilarious variety of vehicles from an ice cream truck, dude, yeah, the ice cream truck, to a nuclear weapon-armed Mack truck. That, it had the creativity more than anything.
I never actually played any of the Twisted Metal games, to be honest.
Well, I had some friends that, one of my friends in particular, he was he had the Sega console. You know, he didn't have a Super Nintendo. He had a Sega and, not a Dreamcast. You know, Sega Genesis, and his parents did get him a PS1. You know, the PSX, the old school, the first one. And I only got to play the game when I was at his house, and it was really fun, though, right? It's like, oh, Mario Kart, but with weapons, like real-looking weapons. And I actually got a feeling at the time that I wasn't supposed to be playing that game. So, shout out.
So it made it even cooler.
To Twisted Metal series.
There's supposed to be a movie or something with it, isn't there? I feel like that's a thing. I could be wrong. Maybe it got canceled.
Oh, man.
Who knows?
At this point, anything could be a movie.
We're living in the post Mortal Kombat reboot world. Anything's possible.
Anything.
Dreams
Monster
can be
Hunter
real.
is possible. Yeah.
Oh god, that movie looked terrible. We should watch that sometime just to see how bad it is.
Agreed. Let's see. Yeah, we can watch that in Great Wall. So, Command and Conquer Red Alert, November 96. Oh my god, I love this game.
Yeah,
so
this
much.
game's awesome.
On PC. Stefan Matti, I want to say, I'm so sorry, buddy. I just don't remember how to say your last name. Fantastic game. RTS in the best possible way. The live action videos between missions was the best.
Yep.
And if anybody hasn't seen these yet, go to YouTube, type in Red Alert cutscenes, and just watch them because it's a movie.
The best one is the Tim Curry one. Space.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
I actually really loved the Command and Conquer series. I don't remember if I played Red Alert specifically because I played a bunch of different Command and Conquer games and they all kind of blur together in my mind. But that series, I don't even like strategy games really, but that series and Age of Empires always did it for me. I loved this game. We played it a ton, and like I said, I believe it was Red Alert was the one that we played, but or one of the ones we played. But I really, really love this series. Really fun, really cool strategy game. Like you said, the peak like old '90s cinematics. Yeah, it was great.
The vibes are fantastic. It's a green screen background with like the period appropriate CG, it's
all pixely and like
oh man, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
The next game on the list was a surprise. It is Snake, which came out in 1997 for the Nokia phone.
Yep.
O'Shea Ubu suggested this and says it is the best sentimental game, period.
That's all you had.
If you're with your mom, if you had a savvy mom or dad that had a phone at the time in 97, they're doing business, they said, don't touch that thing. And, you're going to drain the battery. We all know that's, by today's standards, impossible. Nokia phones are,
They're
legendary.
Beasts. Yeah.
Yep. This game was great. I love playing Snake on my mom's Nokia. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I think we had two cell phones. I think my mom and my dad had them.
Same. Yeah, my parents had cell phones. Cell phones that we were like, my parents were like, you cannot use that cell phone unless it's an absolute emergency because it's like $5 a minute, and if you touch that send button,
right,
I'll kill you.
Oh man, it's wild.
Yep.
That is wild to think of. The next game on the list is Vandal Hearts, which came out in March 97 for the PlayStation. Bum Lee says it has a nice story with good artwork, and 2D sprites in the 3D environment look great at the time. Fountains of blood when a unit got killed. Yeah, I watched the clips. I have never played Vandal Hearts.
I have
but
played
I did
it.
watch
I
the
own
clips,
this
and
game, actually.
Damn. Hurst.
I bought this game on a whim. I actually knew nothing about it. I bought this game a long time ago, probably like PS2 era is when I picked it up, and I was very surprised by it. I remember it being pretty challenging. Maybe it's just because I'm terrible at strategy games. So I remember it being tough, and I believe it's like similar to the Nintendo strategy one, Fire Emblem, where if your dudes die, they are permadead.
They die.
And they're just gone forever. So
They die in real life.
I always have a hard time finishing a fight when that happens. I'm like,
Oh,
now I got to
same.
start all over again. So
Same.
I never
Redo the
finished
battle.
game, but it was fun from what I remember.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, 100%. I'm with you. I have a hard time with that. The next game on the list, Star Fox 64. Oh, man.
Oh,
For
baby.
Nintendo 64. June 97. Kim Gia, Amy, my good friend here, was pretty obsessed with this game as a kid. I was as well.
Yeah, I did everything you could possibly do.
Man.
Actually, if you guys can, I don't know if this part will get cut off of the video when we zoom in, but this VHS cassette right here, that is the Star Fox promotional VHS that got sent out in the mail, where the Sega dude and the Sony dude kidnap the guy who's working on Star Fox, and they're like, he's showing them the game, and they're like, oh my god, how are we going to compete with this? And he's like, check this out. Ready to have your mind blown? The Rumble Pack. And they're like, oh my god, because that was the first game that used it. And that was like, now that's standard in every controller you buy.
Standard haptics in every
it all
controller.
goes back to Star Fox 64.
Count it. Oh man, you did it, Nintendo.
I do not get how there hasn't been a game in that series to top it. Like, how do you make that game and not just keep doing that, but just, you know, add new stuff to it?
Yeah.
Like, don't...
I agree. Like Star Fox 64 2, you mean, or something, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to use the IP to
sell Dinosaur
sell
Planet.
a new control scheme on the 3DS.
or the
something.
Wii U pad in the uncontrollable game that you have to somehow look at a tablet and the TV at the same time. Side note, that game's not that bad if you play it as a co-op game. If you have one person using a controller and one person using the tablet. And
you mean the Wii U one?
The Wii U one.
Nobody here who's watching this is going to play Star Fox on the Wii U.
All three people besides me who own
We're
a Wii
in the
U,
90s right now, which is why we're going back to the gold standard GoldenEye 007, August 97. Man, 97 was a killer year for 64.
There are a lot of people on this list saying...
oh, yeah. Dude, Amy again... Amy again spoke up. Matt Clement, Dean Baker, and Joshua Grant all threw this name out, and I appreciate it. GoldenEye
that is a perfect size group to play GoldenEye against each other.
Yeah, you guys could get together. You should. The
no
multiplayer
slappers only. Go for it.
Let's go. It says Joshua, or like knives on Temple. Oh man, like you get knifed from across the level. Oh god, that game, so fun, so fun.
Controls like butt now, but it's still super fun. When I lived in Korea, I used to do Nintendo 64 nights at my apartment, and we would play GoldenEye, and it controls so bad now, but it's still a ton of fun to play. It's still just absolutely chaotic and amazing.
100% agreed, dude. Yeah, it was great. I've been to a few of those nights.
I wish I knew how many hours I poured into this game.
Good question. Probably a lot, man. Probably a lot. As a kid, oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was my introduction to the first-person shooter genre.
I think most people's at that time.
The next game, also a monumental game, and ironically, the number 7 also features here. Final Fantasy VII, which was released on September 7th, 1997. My friend Yasuyo Kikuchi says, the music is so cool, and I like the stories. Yes, Final Fantasy VII, fantastic story. Dean Baker throws his hat in on this one as well, and John Henry McGilligan. He says, my first PS game, and it was the first game with a massive story that I played. Again, I think a lot of us watching right now, similar boat or same boat. You know, this was right after. There were, of course, some fantastic JRPGs on, the previous systems. But, wow, Final Fantasy VII was so good. They finally gave us a remake.
Literally mind-blowing how amazing that cinematic looked back in the day. Just like, I can't believe video games look like this now. They look like giant blocks with no mouth. But it's amazing.
That's wild. You're so emotional. If you were anybody who's anyone into games, people knew Cloud. You had the debate about if it's Aerith. You know, everyone like
It's
that was a
Aerith.
little later
It's
on
not
when
Aerith. Aerith sounds weird to me. I can't do it.
that's okay. It's still Aerith, but that's okay
It's wrong. That's
because it's Earth. It's supposed to be a play on the word Earth. Surprised you didn't know that.
wrong. I did not know that. Actually,
Really?
the thing that's funny is
funny.
we bought our PlayStation specifically to play Final Fantasy VII. Before we had it, my older brother and our friends rented a PlayStation and rented Final Fantasy VII so they could play it, but they didn't know about memory cards at the time. And so they got the game back to my buddy's house, realized there was no memory card, asked my buddy's dad to take them back to the Blockbuster to rent a memory card. He's like, no.
He said no.
It's the weekend. I'm
No
done.
way.
I'm home. I'm not going out. So they had to play and just pray that they didn't die. They got all the way to the end of the Gold Saucer area, and then they
Oh,
died and
wow.
had to start all over.
That's heartbreaking. That's a sad story.
Yep.
Unlike the next game on the list, Parappa the Rapper. Okay, I wrote Parappa the Rapper, but I think it's just Parappa the Rapper is the actual title.
I don't know. Is it? I'm not sure. Now
I'm
you got me
pretty sure.
Berenstein Baird. I don't know which one it is.
November 97. Wow, okay. Also for PS1. Ryan Santos says it has great music, great characters, great game.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree.
that
I
game's
am
fun.
honestly surprised Sony has not brought this series back. It has still a lot of people identify with the name. They love the series. It was
Sure.
a great game back in the day. They haven't put one out in a long time. I'm sure people would love it.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me that this character,
Especially
is not
with
in
rhythm
anything.
games, I was more surprised about like the DS era, maybe 7 years ago. Rhythm games hit hard.
Yeah.
You have people playing rhythm games all over the DS. You know, you have the Oendan, the Elite Beat Agents in it's like the English release. That game was hugely popular. You know, people love those games. Dude,
During the
bring
era
back
when
Parappa.
Rock
Why
Band
not?
was a big thing. I don't know why they didn't.
Eh.
I actually never played this one that much. Like they had it at my church, and so we would play it sometimes there. But I was a huge fan of Jammer Lammy, which was like the spin-off
Yeah.
series of this.
Yeah.
game. And I loved that game. I have it still. Yeah, it's fantastic.
The next game on the list, I also really loved. Played this with my brother
Yeah, this game's great.
so much. I think we still have it. Snowboard Kids, February 98 for the N64. Dale Splendid Samuels. I used to play it with my brother and best friend, and it was so much fun. Nancy was my lady on that game. Yo, hey, I'll stand Nancy. That game is so good, dude. That game was amazing for real. I love the power-ups. The level design was so creative and fun.
Yeah, that game
You felt like you're always moving, which because it's a snowboarding game, but you would go to like a volcanic prehistoric stage and wherever else, and
It was like snowboarding mixed with Mario Kart with like all the kinds of crazy weapons and stuff. Just a fantastic game. I loved both of them. We never owned it, sadly, so I don't own this game. And now, because this game is so fondly remembered, these games are really pricey. So if you find one in the wild at a cheap price, pick it up because it is a fantastic game and getting harder and harder to come by these days. So
maybe you could pay the rent later. The next game on the list, I know there are a lot of fans, especially in Korea. Oh, I'm so sorry. I also have to give a shout out to Cassie Baggett, who says, who is also a fan of Snowboard Kids and says, I really want to play it again. Heck yeah, thanks, Cassie. And now we're going to go to the next game, StarCraft, March 98 on the PC. Now, John Williams suggested this
Friend,
and says
not
it is
composer.
the grand... Yeah, yes, our friend. Maybe the composer. I'm not sure. I
I don't
can't
know what he
confirm.
does in his free time when I'm not.
Nor deny that John Williams, the composer, is a huge fan of StarCraft. The granddaddy of all esports, and I would say granddaddy as in pioneered esports. Yes, esports would not exist if it weren't for StarCraft.
Yep.
Hands down.
So
Cannot disagree.
one of the things that was cool is when I first moved to Korea back in 2009, you could see StarCraft on TV basically 24/7. They had like a channel on basic cable with with StarCraft just playing constantly. Every once in a while, they would take a break. They'd show like 3 rounds of Tekken, and then they'd go back to StarCraft. But it was great. That's what I would just leave on TV when I was bored.
Now is now. Now it's wild. You know, they have 2 or 3 dedicated game channels. It's amazing. Even my daughter's channel, like some of the kids network shows, they show streamers playing like Roblox missions and things on there.
They're just playing Roblox versions of StarCraft, which is weird.
The next game on the list is June 1998, Banjo-Kazooie. Kita TJ Williams says N64 was my second console ever, and Banjo-Kazooie was where it's at. There you go.
I actually did not play this one back in the day.
What? Really?
Yeah, we never got this one. I think the reason why is because this one came out around the same time as Donkey Kong 64, and Donkey Kong 64 just left such a horrible taste in my mouth I never even owned Donkey Kong 64. We just rented it, and I think I started growing out of collectathon games at that time. I own it now. I think I own Banjo-Tooie in a physical cartridge, and then I own the collection on Xbox. And I've gone back and I've played the beginning of this game. I've never beaten it, but it's a solid game. It's very fun. I'm kind of mad that I missed out on it when I was a kid.
I lump it in with a lot of other games that were popular at the time. You know, the 3D platforming collection games. You know, you got Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro the Dragon, you know, which I think a lot of people had more fun with because they were playing on PlayStation and the graphics were a little better.
Yeah.
And, you know, it fun stuff for what it was. Next game on the list, a monumental achievement in gaming as well. Metal Gear Solid. October 1998 for the PlayStation. Sean Callahan has this lovely long blurb to say, and I'm going to read it all because it sounds really nice. I remember it being like a movie. Nothing like it had ever come before. Playing the intro while the credits rolled, you come to the top of the elevator to the title reveal. Then the zoom in with the binoculars. Not sure I'd ever seen that in a game before. Plus all the stuff like codec codes on the actual game case. Swapping controllers while fighting Mantis and him reading your memory card. It set a precedent for what storytelling in a cinematic way could be going forward. Landmark moment for gaming. Thank you, Sean. Yes. Fantastic. And I agree, and I appreciate you for giving us that nice long description. I can't add anything. I think you nailed it.
Yeah. I didn't play Metal Gear Solid when it first came out, but my brother was a huge fan of this, my older brother. And eventually, around the time that Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, he was like, I cannot believe you haven't played the series. Go back and play it. So I was on vacation from Korea. I went to Florida to visit my brothers, and I played Metal Gear Solid in one sitting, Metal Gear Solid 2 in one sitting, Metal Gear Solid 3 in 2 sittings, and Metal Gear Solid 4 in one sitting. And so it was like the Metal Gear Solid 3 sitting, actually maybe 3 and 2 were switched around, because I played 17 hours of Metal Gear Solid 3, slept for 6 hours, and in Metal Gear Solid 4 I played for 17 and a half hours.
That's a lot of storytelling, man. You're a wild man. I remember that, though. I remember you saying, you're like, I'm going to beat every Metal Gear Solid in like one weekend. I loved
it. It was great. It was an excellent experience beginning to end.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, how much of that game time was spent watching cinematics?
Probably about 60%.
My favorite was the Metal Gear Solid remake for GameCube, which I might still have, because it was a full re-render of the game. The graphics are actually better. The voice work is cleaned up because it has tin canny voice work for the first one. It was recorded apparently without, I don't know. I think they did a lot of low budget recordings at the time, because they didn't know how the game was going to hit. Oh man, fantastic though. The next game on the list, another wonderful one. These are all great, by the way. Grim Fandango, October 98 for PC. Graham and Jody Odgers suggested this. Jody says, it will forever hold a special place in my heart. The humor, story, art style, and music are all astounding. I have never played Grim Fandango.
I've played the beginning of it. I played maybe the first hour and a half, 2 hours of it, and it was really good from what I played. And I've heard nothing but praise for this game. I've heard it's one of the best point-and-click adventures of all time.
It's on my list.
At the time, I didn't have a
list.
lot of time to devote to it, and the reason I stopped is because I didn't want to give it like half of my attention. So it's definitely high on my list. I definitely want to play it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So this maybe will light a fire under me to do so.
We got to get it. Yeah, well, maybe we should play it together sometime, man. Maybe that's a good idea.
Oh, show.
Next game on the list is Brigandine, October 98 for the PlayStation. A great story, good graphics, and unique gameplay. And I actually do not remember who recommended this to me, and I am so sorry. But I will find your name later, and I will insert it right here in text.
I'm gonna.
And this is another game I haven't played.
I've never played it. I don't even know what this one is.
Well, we're gonna take a look at the video and see how cool it looks. If I'm not mistaken, it is a
PlayStation.
PS1 game, right? Yeah.
All right, let me take a look.
Yeah, it's a tactics style game.
Oh, I know what game this is.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the box for this game a lot and being like, "Oh, that cover looks really cool. I want to play that game." But, I didn't have any money, so I was kind of at the whims of my parents at that time. But
the other problem with games like this is they were usually sold for a premium price. They often were touted as, limited release in stores, and they upped the price and they said, "Oh, it's a Japanese developer." I mean, but so is every Mario game has a Japanese developer, dude. It doesn't have to be $1 billion game.
Apparently, this series is still going.
I do remember looking that up.
There's one that came out last year. Looks cool.
Yeah, definitely looks pretty neat. I don't have a lot of time to play tactics games lately, unfortunately, but I do like the genre. Another monumental game, as most of them are, Half-Life, November 1998. Alexander James Cook. When Half-Life came out on the PC, it changed first-person shooter games forever. Grounded your actions in a story with motivation and unforeseen consequences. Yes. And one of those unforeseen consequences is Team Fortress 2. So There you go. Nailed it. Which arguably could be, you could say, spiritual successor. Overwatch today is all thanks to Half-Life.
Yep. And Half-Life was a great game. Valve really embraced the modding community, the fan-made games. That's where we get
take note, everyone.
From. Yeah.
Valve nailed it.
They just did an excellent job with this game. I never beat this game. I played it a ton as a kid. I loved it. It was an excellent game. Apparently, there was a version of it made for Dreamcast that never came out, but you can watch videos about it because it was mostly.
And I wish I had that actually.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Great game. If you've never played Half-Life or Half-Life 2, go back and play them. They still hold up. Still great games.
Heck yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. The story is fantastic. The gameplay is doable, for sure.
Hitting guys with a crowbar left and right.
Yeah. The story, the story alone makes the game. And the game itself is good enough. I think it's definitely good enough.
I always hated the little pod aliens with the tongue that would grab you from the ceiling. Hated those things.
And again, creative design. Like, the concept behind the creature design is one of the best things about the game. You got to admire it. I love, playing Halo, which is not on this list. Nobody suggested it. That's okay. It's still one of my favorite games of all time, and similar in a sci-fi sort of futuristic genre. And first-person shooter, right? I love the design of, you have the faction of enemy aliens you're fighting against, and each of them is unique. That was so cool. As opposed to recoloring or just reskinning the same creatures as they level up through things. They're like, no, these are new. This is a new society with a new, history and everything. And that Half-Life did that too. They're coming here with a purpose from some place, and they have, they're designed that way. It's nice. Nailed it.
Yeah, excellent game.
The next game, also fantastic. Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, November 1998. Wow, that's wild. Same month as Half-Life. That's crazy.
What a wild
Nintendo
month
64.
That was.
Dude, for real. Pamela Hart and Dale Samuels suggested this, and Dale says Ocarina of Time is a no-brainer because when I played it, I became Link. It took me years to complete it, but I enjoyed every moment. Taking years, man, that's rough. But the fact that you finished it out, I power to you.
Dedication.
Yeah, That game, I mean, now if we look at it compared to like Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time's entire play area, it's like one chunk of the world map of Breath of the Wild, which also came out 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. So it's really, no, 4 years ago, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no,
I believe
4
so.
years ago?
Oh no. Life is fleeting.
So I mean, it's nuts to imagine how they put so much story and characters and content into such a great game at the time.
Yeah. Again,
You know?
I think that one of the reasons why this game gets so much praise is you have to look at it in context of the time that it came out. And when you look at series like Legend of Zelda, like Mario, that made the jump from 2D to 3D, that was huge to do that successfully at all, let alone making a game that is still considered one of the greatest games of all time by many people. You know, you look at other franchises that did not execute that transition very well, that just died off or you know, just shoveled out other games that never really reached what it used to be. Looking at you, Sonic the Hedgehog. But Zelda did it really, really well. Zelda did it in a way that, you know, I think people playing it now can't really understand if you didn't live through that era of the transition from 2D to 3D.
Definitely. And, you know, just for the Sonic fans out there, John is right. He's absolutely right. Those games are not very good.
No, Sonic did not. They're, I've not.
Sorry.
Apparently, Colors is supposed to be good.
I'll try it out.
I don't think 3D Sonic is very good. That's just me. If you like it, you know, I don't want to ruin what you love. You can love whatever you like. You're free to do so. I think those games are very bad. Unsubscribed. Dislike.
I know, right? I know.
Out.
Boom. Reported. Okay, nailed it. That's great. System Shock 2, August 1999 for the PC.
One, and I'm
no. That's I forgot to delete that one.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
We're
going to System Shock 2. We're going to System.
I'll tell
Shock
the people.
2,
you will not silence them.
4 August 1999 PC. Dude, okay, so I actually was really surprised at this suggestion. This is a fun game and the precursor to games like Deus Ex. Thank you, Steve McAllister, for the suggestion. I have never played System Shock or System Shock 2.
I've only played System Shock 2 and only the beginning. It was very fun. I've been trying to play this game for years with my brother, but the problem is you cannot play it online because it's so old. You have to do it through weird direct connections that don't work because the game came out 22 years ago. And I still want to play through it. I've heard nothing but great things about this game. The little bit that I have played was really cool. The environments are really cool. The whole setup of it, the feel of it, even though this game has very dated graphics, much like Half-Life, they did such a great job of building the world and making these really interesting choices that you can make in gameplay because you can kind of spec out your guy in different ways. And I do intend on playing it. It's just getting to the point where my brother and I can figure out how to get it to work.
Jonathan, okay? Yeah, this game is cool. If you like PC games that are kind of dark, exploring the world with actually a fantastic story, do it. I have to say this is one of the games on the list that I watched the gameplay of, like a full run through for. I don't do that with a lot of games, but I do that occasionally. Late night YouTube, nothing else to do, and I had.
But he watched a Roblox reproduction of it. It was him and Lemon, and they just watched the whole Roblox System Shock 2.
It made it. I can't tell if it made it better or worse though. I have to rewatch the original. Final Fantasy VIII, September 1999 for the PlayStation. Again, my friend Yasuyo Kikuchi, thank you so much. Same thing, fantastic music and love the story.
I'm gonna give you a hard disagree on this one, Yasuyo. Again, you love what you're gonna love. I don't want to yuck your yum, but I do not like Final Fantasy VIII. I think it is a very bad game. It has things that are good. The music, as you mentioned, is fantastic. Some of the summons looked pretty cool. Gunblade is awesome. Stuff like that is cool, but I don't enjoy this game. I played it when it came out. I got to the last castle. My file got corrupted. I went back and replayed it last year when I was playing through all the Final Fantasies, and
I watched him.
I do not enjoy this one. I don't like the story. I don't like the gameplay. And it feels like a game where I do respect Square Enix for not resting on their laurels and not just making another Final Fantasy VII, because they absolutely could have done that. And it feels like they tried very hard to embrace new systems like the Junction system and the Guardian Force system and all these things. And they tried very hard, but it feels like they didn't play test them enough to make sure that everything cohesively fit together. And it felt like a lot of the systems fought against each other.
It's bad. The Junction system is garbage.
Surprisingly, they did make a perfect game inside this game when they made the card game for it.
I was going to say, you mean the card game, right?
Yeah. So somehow, even though they made a game that I do not like, they snuck in a hidden gem inside of it. So again,
and the music,
like which one
agreed,
like,
the music is fantastic. The story is also, I mean, it's a little convoluted, but I do like how it was kind of a shout out, or like a, how do you say this, a callback to the original Final Fantasy.
That's true.
In a way,
yeah.
Which was something that was very neat, and you know, I'm glad the game was successful enough to give us Final Fantasy IX, which I think was a better game.
Yep, the cinematics to this game were also top notch. Some really cool stuff.
If you think about progression from the first one, really well.
Just the way it looked in general, the character models were a huge step up from
that's
Final
true.
Fantasy VII.
It's an important piece of history. Again, maybe not your or my favorite Final Fantasy game, but still a good game. Still, yep. I mean, for and like worth mentioning. And Yasuo, thank you, and I'm glad you love it. All right. Next game on the list. Let's get our ska hats on, and you know, let's go kick the hacky sack with Hawaiian shirts over a t-shirt. Everybody, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, September 1999. Matt Clement and G. Scott Zeller. G. Scott Zeller says, challenging, fun, and I love to skate at home. Yeah, skating at home. Come on, this is right when X Games was becoming a thing. You know, you got Tony Hawk becomes a household name because of this game. Yeah. The thing with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which I think was more I don't believe that came out. I think that came out in 2000.
I think that's correct.
But or 2001. However, these games, programmers of these games put them out for the Game Boy Advance, for the PlayStation, later on the PlayStation 2. I'm pretty sure did they have it on 64 at some point?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, they did.
So they're putting it on all these different systems to get people into this game, and it was a game like that you could say you enjoyed even if your parents only had enough money to buy you one console.
Even if you only had the demo that had Superman in the warehouse, which is the only level that I ever play. I actually rebought this game recently because it re-released on the Switch, and I bought that pack, played just the warehouse with Superman on repeat for like an hour, and was like, you know, I spent like $60 to do that, and I do not regret it because I loved it. It was great. That game is fantastic. It's a masterpiece.
Seriously fun. You get Spider-Man in the later.
Darth
I don't think
Maul
he's the first
was in
game.
one. He could force throw the
Boba Fett, dude. You do jetpack boost. They did a great job of incorporating some other IPs which weren't owned by Disney at the time, and making it fun.
Yeah, it's great. If it still holds up, the remake is great. If you haven't played it, the team that was behind it loved the original one and wanted to capture the same feel. And yeah, I can't say anything bad about this game. It is fantastic.
Another game, like most of the ones, dude. The later '90s are killing it. They're killing it. Pokemon Yellow, October '99, released on the Game Boy. Steven Brigadero says, I didn't have to pick between the starters. Good memories of burning through batteries so much Mom had to buy cheap off-brand batteries at flea markets. Did the chores and begged for money for batteries. I get it because this game was so fun and 100%. I didn't have Like, my brother didn't have Pokemon and a Game Boy. I don't even know if he was interested because I was too interested in my own Game Boy with Pokemon. I don't know if we had to share. I don't really remember my brother playing it much. But I didn't have people to trade with. So I remember I had a Nintendo Power subscription. I wanted the starters. I wanted to do cool stuff, and I couldn't. This game let me do it. Man, thank you, Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah,
and you got
that
Pikachu
game
walking
was
around
great.
behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It took everything that the first two did. It cleaned stuff up, new art animations, new placement for where some of the characters were, the Pikachu following behind you. It was just a great game. It was excellent. I think Gold and Silver are still my favorites of all the Pokemon games, but Yellow is close behind.
Yeah, it's like Gen 1.5 kind of, right?
Basically.
I love it, dude. Okay, so again, I made a mistake. I'm going to skip this next one, and we're going to go to straight
It was
to
Harvest
the
Moon 64.
last game on our list. Shenmue, or Shenmue if you are a Japanese enthusiast and you buy the game when you're in Japan. Shenmue, December 99. Also, December 29th, 1999, launched in the US. So they were just sneaking it by there.
I'm surprised they didn't rush it pre-Christmas.
Launch?
Yeah, what weird time to launch that. Yeah. You want that sweet New Year's money.
Dude. For the Dreamcast, Liam Birch says absolutely mind-blowing at the time. There are so many memes. This game had so many memes about it in, early, as soon as people started to make memes, before they were called memes, about, have you seen any sailors? I'm looking for some sailors. Have you seen any sailers?
Better not wreck that forklift.
Yeah, dude. Or like, I used to be Chinese, there's just the voice acting, but the fact that it had an engaging world that you could walk through was
picking things
cool.
up like this, and being
yeah. The game took forever though to come up with, to finish the story. That's one thing that is really
it's still not done. They made the third one, and the guy was like, "It's 3 of 7." It was like, "Dude, come on, bro.
Yeah, no,
you can't do that.
don't you George R.R. Martin us? Don't you do that? All right."
That series is never ending. I'm sorry, guys. You're never gonna see the end of Shenmue.
All right, so that is the end of our list, dude. December 29th is really sneaking it in there. I think we'd be hard pressed to find a game that released after that, in 1999. So
yeah, I have no idea that you'd be able to.
Let alone one of the best games of the 90s. You guys, thanks again. This was such just a real treat to get through this list together and talk about this and reminisce.
Yeah, a lot of
I had a great time.
Good memories with a lot of these games. I've played like 95% of them and loved 95% of them. Maybe 94% because of Final Fantasy 8. But
yeah, it's really amazing, to see. And it's great that there are so many people in the community that we, in our circles, and now that also watch the show, that we share this with. I think that's wonderful, and I hope you guys watching right now, I hope you are enjoying reminiscing as much as we have.
Yep.
So, that being said, there are some honorable mentions that did not make the list today. I'm going to go through first of all and say thank you to the wonderful people who helped us get this done. I have a nice list of people whose names I hadn't called out, but did post smaller comments that didn't quite give us enough information to put on here. Alexandria Brooks, Jilong Ying Lung, Tony Wall, Stefan Titano, John Ewert, Raymond Aguilas Diwa, Ian Adkins, Cesar Ortega, Pieter Small, Nicholas Bertzel, Gwaine Patterson, Josephine De La Mota, Pamela Hart, Robert McPherson, and finally Alistair Walsh. Thank you so much for participating in the discussion, and we would love to see you add your voices in there next time. And next, we're going to go through our honorable mentions of games that we didn't quite have enough information to include.
Stuff.
So let's do it. John and I are going to go halvesies on this. First one, Tactics Ogre.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Armored Core.
Mega Man. I don't know
Ninja
if that's X or
Gaiden?
Mega Man, but yeah. Metal Warriors.
Time Splitters 2.
Crash Bandicoot.
The original Pokemon.
Conker's Bad Fur Day. Great one.
It is that's a good one. Pokemon Stadium.
Chex Quest. The cereal.
Yeah, yes. Oh man, Suikoden 2.
Shadows of the Empire.
Age of Empires 2.
Silent Hill.
Secret of Mana.
Spyro the Dragon.
Harvest Moon 64.
You cannot be silenced. Shining Force.
Actually, we did talk about Shining Force. Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Quake.
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh man. Commander Keen.
I love that game. Judge Dredd.
Tekken.
I think you mean Tekken, if you watched the Game Awards a couple years ago. Smash Bros. 64. Again, can't be silenced.
Super Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. 64. Great one.
Legend of Legaia.
Metal Slug.
X-Men. And I'm pretty sure that's the arcade X-Men.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, that game's fantastic. Carnage Heart. I don't know that one, actually.
Super Mario Brothers 3, which Jonna and I 100%ed some years back.
Quality. Ultima 6.
Scorched Earth.
Dune 2000.
And finally, Civilization. Great list of games.
Yeah.
You have been wonderful. This has been good, Jonna. Until next time, we're going to put out our review of One Hone, A Vengeful Spirit.
Yep. I'm going to go play the Roblox version of Chex Quest.
Nice. I'm actually excited to check out Roblox Silent Hill.
Lemon will love it. But no, like Victor said, look out for our next review. It's coming. I know it's been a while since we recorded the preview episode for it, but we've got that one coming. If you guys have any recommendations for other videos you guys would like to see, anything like this that's off-brand, not indie stuff, or even an indie game that you'd like for us to check out, let us know in the comments. Hit us up on messages, on Facebook, however you can reach us, and we will see you guys next time.
And if you haven't yet, and you made it this far, please like and subscribe.
Do it. Don't
save a life.
Subscribe because I dissed a game you like. Sorry, Sonic fans. I'm sorry. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye. Hey, everyone. I am Victor, sometimes Victor Reeser.
And I'm Jonathan Vergara.
And this is Indies Nuts, the podcast, where we review indie games and... I fucked it up. We're doing it again. That was pretty good, but I fucked it up. All right.
Sure did, buddy.
Let's do it. 3, 2...